Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of, this isn't the Mischief Gaming show, is it? Oh yeah, this is Through the Gaming Vine. I am from the Mischief Gaming show, however. My name is Bob Zombie, for those of you who don't know who I am. And I review video games and do some live streaming stuff. But today I'm here to challenge Through the Gaming Vine to review a little game called, Countdown Vampires, or is it Vampire Countdown? Can't really tell by the cover. It's really weird. I don't know if you can see that or not with the glare and everything, but apparently it's Countdown Vampires, so I probably fucked it up anyway. Anyway, this is a little series that me and Through the Gaming Vine are going to be doing. We're going to be challenging each other to different sort of reviews that cater to the horror market. He challenged me to do Cold Fear. I challenged him to do Countdown Vampires, and I hope you enjoy our first episode. He also did a review on Countdown Vampires. I think he's going to put a link in the description, so if you want to see my take after seeing his take on it, feel free to come over and, hang out.
What is it about vampires that we find so fascinating? For years, we've been surrounded by stories and movies and video games about these undying sanguinators. It stems back to John Polidori's book entitled The Vampire, released in 1819, and it slowly infected its way to modern times. You know, I once dated a girl who said I was so charming and charismatic she wouldn't be surprised if I was really a vampire. Now granted, I was hella charming in my younger days, but a vampire I was not. Now it's no secret that we tend to romanticize certain things, and nothing gets it more than the vampire legend. I mean, it makes sense. It combines a lot of fantasies we've dreamt about for years. Who wouldn't want to stay young forever, or have supernatural strength, or even the power of flight? Hell, even I can think of a few times that being able to shapeshift into a bat would be useful. Vampires have been in video games since, well, probably since day one, but something really clicked in the late 90s, and they were everywhere. You know what also blew up in the late 90s? Resident Evil. It came out of left field and it made millions. So I'm sure you can see where this is going. Someone decided to make Resident Evil but substitute the zombies with vampires, giving us Countdown Vampires. Countdown Vampires is a PlayStation game with 3 of the most ridiculous cover arts I've ever seen in my life. I can almost say this right here is why no one has heard of the game. Now, although I went into this game thinking it was going to be a dumpster fire, I was pleasantly surprised with the quality of the cutscenes off the bat. And as the story goes, you play Keith, a homicide detective that for some unknown reason decided to take a side job working as a bouncer for a casino/horror themed hotel. The hotel seems to resemble a hip casino nightclub where your bartender is Jason from Friday the 13th. And then, out of nowhere, a fire explodes on the stage and someone hits the sprinklers. And then the water turns everyone into vampires. I don't think I've ever seen an odd transformation like that. It is very easy to not like this game when it starts. First and foremost, the second you gain control of the main character, you're given a 3-minute countdown to escape. The problem is, the beginning area is almost identical no matter which direction you choose. And you're not really told where you need to go, or what's going on. Secondly, after you escape the countdown intro, you truly find out how weak your main weapons are. The enemies will pile on you, and the dart gun will take over a full clip to keep an enemy down. Plus, they always get up a second time. Using this gun against mobs is laughable. The second weapon is a stun glove, or stun globe. Anyway, it looks flashy, and even though it's called a stun glove, it seems to only kill the enemies. But the range is so close, you will almost always take a hit when using it. The beginning of this game starts with a stiff difficulty, and it's probably what turned off most of the mainstream reviewers. I was ready to write this game off until I learned what it was doing. It was teaching me that combat isn't always the best choice. While the controls are cumbersome, you can learn to maneuver properly and dodge enemies. Once you find a handgun, though, the battles become considerably more enjoyable. Countdown Vampires rewards you with currency for taking the dangerous route in battle. When using the weak dart gun and then sprinkling down vampires with the white water will give you J. J can be used to buy health items from the vending machines, or you can gamble it away at the casino like a middle-aged man losing all of his rent money. The characters in this game are handled in a weird way. It's like whoever made this game knew nothing about Americans, but they loved American horror films. Looking at the main character pretty much proves that hypothesis. Keith spends the whole game shirtless, which is improbable, and it looks ridiculous. Plus, it's hard to take seriously, and that tribal tattoo is obviously based after From Dusk Till Dawn's Seth Gecko. The second character, Misato, is a waitress and is pretty much shoehorned into Keith's love interest because, well, he found her on the ground and then he left her to fend for herself. So there's another trope from American films. Third, you have this mystery man in black that keeps following you around and pointing guns at you, acting like a badass, and somewhat comes off like one, until he is abruptly killed off in a comedic fashion. Like, for real. He saves you, guns a-blazing, and then quickly gets bitch-slapped and eaten by the floor. Now that may seem like there isn't many characters to interact with, and there's a reason for that. More than half of the characters are not in the story until you beat the game on normal, and under 7 hours. I get what the developers wanted to do there. They wanted to extend the game and reward the player with more backstory. But at no point are you told about this feature. In my case, I beat the game on easy, and then after randomly watching the opening cutscene again, I was curious why it showed a SWAT team that seemed to be nowhere in the game. Upon further research online, I found out not only is there multiple unseen characters and storylines, but there's an actual main boss and a different ending. But for me, I wouldn't be able to see that unless I beat the game a second time and on a higher difficulty and faster to unlock it. And then I'd have to start the game a third time before getting to see the true story. Now this was too much, and it's ultimately what slowed down this video for me. There's something about the first area that I just couldn't enjoy. I'm not sure if the casino environment just wasn't my forte, or if the game got better when you entered the evil house area. I know the music got better, and you finally get a shotgun, so that was a plus. Also, the house area makes the game feel more like a Resident Evil 1 and less like a Chaos Break. There's actually a decent amount of areas in this game. Junkyards to crypts, to mini towns of cabins, and let us not forget the always needed laboratory, which was pretty decent in size. I'm not sure why, but this game barely has any boss battles. You do get a decent battle with a huge flying beast at the end of Disc 1, and that was a nice change of pace. Near the end of Disc 2, you battle 3 warlocks, and I found it challenging and fun, but basically it was ruined because 15 minutes later, you had to repeat the exact same battle, but with a time limit. That's it. Unless you unlock the true story mode, where you get to do this kind of cool thing where your main character's a vampire, but there's a lot of work you have to do to get that. This game has pros and cons. The game starts out difficult, but before you know it, you're bursting with ammunition and carrying more weapons than you can shake a stick at. It has a large amount of post-game content, but it feels like the idea came late in the development. So it's like they took a decent game and chopped out most of the story, leaving your first playthrough feeling slightly thin. I stumbled upon a cool minigame unlocked if you put your name as Prince Darkness. It's a spin-off of the true ending boss battle. You can play as Vampire Keith and you have 20 minutes to kill off different human characters, and it raises in difficulty. Overall, if you can look past its many flaws, there's a good game beneath. You just need to know what you have in store beforehand. I firmly believe if I wasn't forced to play the damn game 3 different times to get the whole story, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. Now, if you're a fan of the vintage Resident Evil games on the PlayStation, why don't you pick this game up and give it a shot? Thanks for watching, and remember, you heard it here through the Game Vine.